Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, and we're going to talk about the ill-conceived Ren and Stimpy reboot. The word on the street is it has been canceled. They're pulling the plug on it. I'm actually slightly happy about this because I think it was a terrible idea. And a lot of other people did too. And I'm hoping that Comedy Central is coming to its senses and not going forward with this. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Nickelodeon and a Nickelodeon documentary that's coming out that talks about the era that gave us Ren and Stimpy and other classic cartoons. So this is coming from Cartoon Brew, unconfirmed. It is unconfirmed, but it's coming from the reporter, I guess, who did the the expose on John Kay and his 16-year-old girlfriend a couple of years ago. But she claims that the show's been shelved. I know there's a petition to cancel the show. Some people, people had various reasons for it. Some people were like, well, cancel because of John Kay. Other people were like, cancel because it's just freaking terrible. Some people probably just wandered in thinking it was about canceling cuties or something. I don't know. Cartoon Brew, unconfirmed. Comedy Central's Ren and Stimpy reboot has been shelved. The Ren and Stimpy reboot at Comedy Central may not happen after all. News that the show has been shelved at Comedy Central was reported this evening by Robin Bird, who has accused John Kay, the creator of Ren and Stimpy, of abusing her when she was underage. Okay, so that was actually her. Okay, I thought she was a reporter that reported that was actually her. She wrote on her Twitter account, confirmed from several sources, Ren and Stimpy reboot equals shelved. It's shelved. It's not happening. We have reached out to Viacom CBS for further clarification on the status of the project, but have not heard back. The story will be updated with comment from the company when and if they respond. When the Ren and Stimpy reboot was first announced, Bird launched a petition asking Viacom to reverse course, but it's not clear if the company's decision has anything to do with the petition. Bird argued that even though creator John Kricfalusi would not be involved with the reboot, a revival would place him back in the spotlight. She said this man used Ren and Stimpy to lure young people to his studio and into his confidence, only to abuse them, stunt their careers, and, do things with young girls he ought not to do. She said he will do it again. I don't know about that, but I think it's absolutely a terrible idea on so many levels. This is not the first time someone has claimed that the revival has been shelved. Earlier this month, Bob Camp, a key creative figure on the series and later a producer of the show, wrote on Facebook the show had been shelved. Without a definitive comment from CBS, we'll have to wait and see whether these reports are accurate. I think it's a terrible idea. I think Ren and Stimpy was a product of its time, regardless of how you feel about the situation with John Kay. If you can separate him from that, they were talking about doing a more adult version of Ren and Stimpy. They tried it before. It was a miserable show. I don't know why they're doing this. Well, I know why they're doing it, because Hollywood knows animation is hot now. They know that 80s and 90s properties are hot right now, so they're just trying to dredge up the past. Supposedly there's going to be another Daria show. They're doing Beavis and Butthead, and they're supposedly thinking about doing Ren and Stimpy, and I hope to God it's been put down. Ren and Stimpy have been euthanized. Maybe that'll be the title of the video. Ren and Stimpy have been euthanized, hopefully. So more Nickelodeon animation news here. There's a Nick documentary coming out talking about how Nick was the anti-Disney brand back in the day, and they were. Nick was like really edgy when it first started. I remember when I was a kid watching shows like You Can't Do That on television, and comparing Nick to like the Disney Channel. It was a totally different thing, and the cartoons, showed it. And again, you had cartoons like Ren and Stimpy that would not exist on Disney. Nickelodeon back in the day was, about as edgy as they could be, I guess, for kids entertainment. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I had a couple people send this to me that they're going to do a Nickelodeon story called The Orange Years. It's going to debut on demand on November 17th. And there's a trailer out there for it. You can go out to YouTube, find it. It's coming off CBR. Go out to YouTube and find it. But they said, yeah, new Nickelodeon documentary will take 90s kids on a nostalgic journey as it explores the network's past in the market left on children's programming. Gravitas Ventures released a trailer for the documentary The Orange Years, the Nickelodeon story which chronicles the rise of the children's network, Nickelodeon. Features iconic Nickelodeon actors and television shows. The trailer is definitely a slime-filled blast from the past. Yeah, lots of slime at Nickelodeon, and I guess John Kay could count as slime if what he did actually happened. The trailer kicks off with shots from classic Nickelodeon television shows, including Are You Afraid of the Dark, Rugrats, Rocko's Modern Life, a favorite of mine, Double Dare, Clarissa Explains It All, and all that. Throughout the rest of the trailer, they've got Kenan Thompson, Kel Mitchell, there's Tom Kenny, tell you about SpongeBob, and they describe Nickelodeon as a kid-owned environment and the anti-Disney and the anti-Saturday morning. And I think that's pretty appropriate. Nicktoons back in the day in the early to mid-90s were fantastic. And I think that era of Nickelodeon animation ended with Avatar. I think that was kind of like the pinnacle of kick-ass Nick animation. It's all been kind of downhill from there. I mean, they passed on Adventure Time. You know, they had the pilot for Adventure Time, and then they passed on the series, and it wound up at Cartoon Network. But according to them, Nickelodeon was not what adults thought kids wanted to see. Instead, the network focused less on acting and more on real childhood experiences. It did, but it's not the same company. Nick's not the same company. In fact, going back to Cartoon Brew, they just expanded their animation leadership team, and it sounds very, very corporate. I'm looking at this release, and it just sounds very, very corporate. They have Conrad Montgomery, who worked on Adventure Time, regular show, and Steven Universe. But it just, back in the day, everything was new, and that's kind of what's so frustrating about looking at the animation scene now, is that everything is corporate, everything is by design, and if you want to get that same vibe that these shows had back in the day, you pretty much have to go out to YouTube, go out to find independent animators, because these companies aren't taking chances. Viacom's not taking chances anymore. You're not going to see another Ren and Stimpy pop up. Look at what Nickelodeon's been doing. They've basically just been running SpongeBob SquarePants, reruns for decades, and producing like Nick Jr. shows. They're not the same company they were, and Cartoon Network isn't either. I think both of those networks kind of lost their spark a long time ago. I would love to see somebody come into it with all these really great shows, and I just don't think we're going to get from network TV. I think some of the streaming services, offer up the same kind of a vibe, but we're not going to see Nickelodeon as it was in the early 90s ever again. We're not going to see anything like it ever again. So I definitely want to check out this documentary. But we can only hope that Ren and Stimpy are gone, that the reboot is gone, because it was an absolutely terrible idea. You can't replicate that, and you shouldn't even try. I'm going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk to you guys later.